What's up, RCNUTS? Today we're going to take a look at something I'm very excited about. I've waited about a year since first production to pick this one up, and I now know that this is the best RTR, ready to rock, ready to roll right out of the box, rock crawler that you can get for the money. All you need is a LIPO battery and maybe some AA's for the controller. The Axail Capra. We're going to go in depth in this thing just a little bit. I think it deserves it. Capra, that's a funny name, you say. Ha, but little do you know that this means mountain goat. What are these goats doing climbing up on these mountains? They're just crazy. I wonder how many of them fall and they're just collected at the bottom, but you know, I'm sure they all survive, right? No, man, I'm just playing, guys. Come on, all you animal rights folks. Come on, you know I'm just playing. I love animals. I got tons of them. And I'm sure they all make it, otherwise they wouldn't be this big and burly and look older. So, alright, so let's check this thing out. Guys, I'm really impressed with the use of stainless steel on this thing. All of the pivot balls are stainless steel. I mean, it's just quality everywhere on this build. The links, they're 6 mil and they are all stainless steel as well. Fantastic. There's a headlight bar already mounted and set up with little LEDs in there. It's pretty bright. Very impressed with that. One less thing that you have to buy and add. Thank you, Axail. You guys rock. Little things like this are really the attention to detail and the build quality that makes a big difference. The pin is real thick on this, which is where all the power is being transferred, and the center shaft floats between the front and the rear there with the splines, and it'll move back and forth depending on your suspension articulation. Really solid engineering. I mean, look at these axles. They're made of hardened steel with 45-degree U-joints. This is nuts for a little RC car. I mean, it's awesome, and this thing is like tough everywhere it needs to be. These oil-filled shocks are inverted and made of hard anodized aluminum. Really good build quality. That's going to last a long time. And the cap makes it easy to bleed them and fill them, of course. And this is pretty trick. This new transmission has the dig feature built in, which means from your remote controller there's a button. You can push it and lock up the rear wheels completely and only have front wheel drive to get you out of some really tight spots when you're bound up or just in between two rocks really tight, you know. The internals are not only made of metal and built really strong, but this is a feature that you don't really see that often on RTRs, I would say. It's just another one of those features that really shows you that Axail did an amazing job putting this thing together. And I got the fever, guys. Not the Rona 19, but the Capra 19, the 1.9. This is where you've got the 1.9 inch wheels. Everything's geared up right. You've got the dig transmission. Heavy duty servo mounted on the front. And when I ordered it, they got this hat. They just said, hey, get the hat. And so I got the hat for free. They threw it in there. I don't know. That's pretty cool, though. I like it. It's a good hat. And when you've got the fever like me, or your RC nuts like all of us here, Christmas is a time where Santa gives you your own gifts. And that's what this was to me, guys. I saw it on my wife's face when I opened it up. But this is an awesome Christmas gift to myself. Look at this controller. Okay, we've got the dig controls right there. thumb controls, 2.4 gigahertz, 3-channel. This thing, it's all you'd ever need for what you're going to do in the range and everything. It's perfect. Perfect. The Dynamite AE5L ESC with drag brake. This is what you would want for this kind of a setup. You got your LED light controls, your setup, you know, your dig, and everything that you need is there. And by installing a simple jumper, you can use nickel metal batteries, and it's waterproof. The Spectrum S614 servo. This thing has 201 ounce-inches of torque. This is perfect. I mean, you could always go heavier on it and have a super servo, but maybe that's an upgrade down the road. I love how they have a 23-tooth metal inserted servo horn right from the factory. That's awesome. You're going to have good bite on that servo. Another small attention to detail that makes a big difference when you add all these small features up. You've got the SRX300 receiver. Can't go wrong there. The wheels are actually a 3-piece beadlock that are a licensed Raceline beadlock wheel. It's totally awesome, man. I love it. The skid plate design underneath the truck is set up similar to the shape of a boat, so you're always going to slide over objects and rocks. You're not really going to get hung up with all the angles and everything the way it's set up. Really smart design. You've got those clever under hood pull pins with those little rubbery piece for the thumb. That's a great design. I love it. And it's fast and easy. And this is where the battery is stored. Curry has come to the table with their F9 portal axles. This is a full ball bearing driven rear end setup with portals built in for extra clearance. It's at a 7.39 to 1 ratio. All metal gears and the bearings. You can see where it drops down there. So your axle is higher, giving you more ground clearance and tons of torque. And this is on the front and rear. Great job to the Axail Racing team for taking the time to set this thing up right. And anyone who doesn't know, the 1.9 means that the tires are 1.9 inches wide. You've got a lot of traction. I chose the red. Here's the blue, green. It's pretty cool, but I thought the red looked just a little bit better to me. Everything that's included that you need. You got your transmitter, receiver, your steering servo, and your micro servo for the dig function. This one does include the batteries for the transmitter, so all you need is the LIPO battery and of course your own LIPO charger, which usually everybody already has. Out of the box, guys, this thing is capable of 2S or 3S. I highly recommend going with a 3S 3600 battery. The particular one I have in mind optimizes the space that's given to you, and it's just perfect. So here's the STX3 controller, and I've got to say I love the Spectrum controllers. I have the DX3 and the DX5C, which you can program all of your cars pretty much to, as long as you have the Spectrum receiver in the cars, which makes it nice because then everything is uniform and across all the vehicles. But here's your throttle limiter. You got 75%, 50%, and of course 100%. That's handy depending on what you're doing or who you're handing the remote over to. Of course, your steering trim and your throttle trim. Throttle normal or reverse, and steering normal or reverse for your directional. Here are your buttons for your lights and your dig. Nice smooth throttle, steering real nice and smooth, little padded wheel on there just right. But enough with that. Look at the beauty we have in front of us, guys. Look at this. It's gorgeous. The paint job, awesome little graphics. It's got this little protector on here to make sure that you're the one that gets to open it. Ah, look at that freshness. It'll never be this clean again, guys. You know it. I know, guys. Calm down, calm down. All right, here we go, man. Gosh, look at the detail on these harnesses. These Nitto trail grapplers feel amazing. Tons of grip, and they're made with that S30 compound, which gives you a lot of grip in a tire. I thought this is just a packaging kind of platform, but I hear something moving around in there, and look at this. You guys know what to do with the manual, right? Yep, that's right, because you're probably not going to need it until something breaks. Oh, and here's the batteries. And this is the bind plug. Very cool. And the two up front I cut earlier. The tube chassis design is absolutely stiff and rigid. This is really what you need so the suspension can do its job properly. This thing is solid, you can just feel it. There is no flex in this body at all. Oh yeah, it just keeps going. There it is, wow. Back tire just starting to lift there. That is a ton of suspension travel and articulation. These Raceline 3-piece wheels and Nitto tires really set this thing off. And look at the paint. I can't get over how good this paint job looks in person. The pictures just don't do it justice. LED headlights as well. You can see just how high this differential is, and those portals on the sides there, how it goes down and drops. That brings everything up so much, and then you've got gears in each hub that is giving you even more torque and biting traction for climbing up big rocks. Heavy grade stuff, approaching vertical angles and all types of situations where you really need that down low grunt torque. Here is something very important that you might overlook. The suspension shocks and the links are mounted at the same spot using the same piece, which means when you're transferring all that weight over, it's keeping your suspension true and balanced so your rear end or the front end won't twist and bind in a weird way when you start getting into those tight spots and heavy articulation. This precision level of build quality and attention to detail is very hard to find in an RTR with this price tag on it. Check out this balancing. Beautiful, man. This thing is so solid. The lockup differentials, I mean, the wheels are not moving at all. It's super secure. You know, it feels really balanced. I think that if there was a battery in there, in the front there, I think it would be almost perfectly balanced. You could feel it. I just wanted to point out that on the inside of some of these vehicles in the cockpit, there's no attention to detail on a lot of manufacturers' cars out there. But this visor on this guy's helmet says AxialRacing.com. I mean, that's so cool. On the inside dash here, you've got all your gauges, instrument cluster. The guy's rapping it out at 8,500 RPMs. That's pretty sweet. That's stuff that doesn't need to be there, but kind of makes it pretty cool, you know? It really is an accumulation of lots of little details and little things that are upgraded from the factory that make this vehicle stand out. Axial has put it all together into one easy RTR. Everybody can get into this thing and absolutely have a blast. Major capability, light bars, portal axles, locker diffs, dig transmission, easy accessible. I mean, everything that they've done is really geared towards giving you the experience that you want without all the little hassles and BS of having to change out all types of parts and add stuff just to make something usable. Look at this, thing's already usable, already set up and ready. And down inside here is where you keep the battery. This is the battery tray tucked back in here, and as always we find a little tidbit, little useful bit of information. You all know what to do with that. Ding! That's right. Right into the rubbish for all you guys in the UK. But here we've got our plug, and you might need an adapter to adapt to the battery that you want. Speaking of that, here's the battery that I would suggest. This is a phenomenal battery. You're maximizing your space for how many milliamp hours that you get. It's a 3S 50C. A lot of the guys are loving this battery in this rig, and that's why I chose it. Fits really nicely in here. That's alright, I'll just push it down in there, see? And you're ready to rock. One problem that I see a lot with crawlers is that the angles of the drive shafts and the U-joints will get so tight. Well, these angles are beautiful. They have plenty of space set up in there to use fully all the suspension and articulation this thing has. And here's a nice look at these portals. You can see the axle come in the top, and then there's gears in there, and then the wheel is actually attached down below to the outer part of that, where you're having a gear reduction in a way so you have a lot of torque, a lot of clearance, and a lot of power. There is so much going on with this Axail Capra. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I made this video for you guys for free, so do something free for me. Go ahead and subscribe if you've made it this far, and if you like the video, hit the thumbs up, and if you don't like the video, hit the thumbs down twice. Thanks guys, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next one.